All right, everyone. I'm going to do a couple modifications to my trailer today and just going to make a quick video. I've showed this trailer a couple times on my Duramax, the 3.0 Duramax videos. Pulled it quite a bit recently, and there's a few things that I want to add to it and make some changes. I went ahead and added, it came with just a single axle brake. I added another brake to the back. After adding that, I had to upgrade the plug, which is a whole nother story in terms of, I'm not sure if it was, I hope it wasn't the factory plug, but I think it may have been. On the wiring was, I believe, 16 gauge. So even with two brakes, 16 gauge is extremely small, even for one brake. So I went ahead and upgraded the wiring. That it goes about 12 feet back. Then that now is 12 gauge on the brake side. Then from there it does go into the 16. But there's a huge difference in terms of my brake setting. Now on a 5, it really brakes pretty hard, versus before I had to put it on a 7 to even get very much brake action at all. That's with, again, with 4 sides braking. I did check the voltage in back, and sure enough, I mean, there's a large voltage drop across that wire, that 16 gauge wire. Originally I was only getting like 8.8 volts and at the brakes themselves. So that's that helps significantly. I'll upgrade the rest of the wiring. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this toolbox. I'm sick of grabbing straps and throwing them back in the truck, and I use weight distribution hitch. So I'm going to start storing that. There's my hitch. You can see. And I have a small winch on it, so I want to store the battery versus having to dig it out every time. So this box, of course, isn't mounted yet, but that's the box. I already had it. They make the tongue boxes, but most of them are smaller than this. Tongue's pretty wide, so I really don't care for that look much. This is just a truck box. I think it's gonna look okay. Not the best, but hey, I already have it, so why not use it? So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and cut a couple of these, or cut probably 4 of them, clean them up. Let me see. I'm going to basically add them right in here so I could bolt this down, the box down. It doesn't need a whole lot. These are only 1/8 inch thick, 2 by 2 angle. 1/8 inch. Then I'll probably go ahead and weld on my weight distribution brackets. Those bolts aren't the best. I don't like the bolt-on ones. I just really left them to see if I like the weight distribution, and it works great. I wouldn't tow the trailer anymore probably without weight distribution hitches. So I'll go ahead and probably tack those on. I'm not going to fully weld them on. It doesn't need a whole lot to hold them, but I'll do that. And the reason I'm not it'd be easy just to go ahead and bolt this down. For those who don't know, the most force in all your beams here is at the top and bottom. That's where the most force is. Right in the center there's not. So if you're going to put a hole or something, you really want to put it, close in the center. And not put holes in the top or bottom. So that's the reason I'm going to weld on brackets versus, like I said, easy thing would be just to drill a couple holes through there, and the size of the screws to hold that down, or because it's going to have weight in it and everything else, or probably that's going to be in compression. It probably wouldn't hurt anything, but at the same time, I have a welder, I have angle, why not do it? I did add this jack. The original jack was a little tiny small side mount, so I added this. It's a Ram 8,000 pound support, 7,000 pound lift. I just welded it. I need to clean that up and paint it. But if you're going to use weight distribution hitch and really put a lot of weight on those, you really need a good jack. And so that little jack that originally came with it, there's no way it would be able to crank up on it and attach the bars more than likely without breaking off. So that jack works very well. I'll get those cleaned up and set up and then check back with you guys. Okay, here you can see I tacked on a piece of angle iron. Super easy, just to make sure it's level on the top. I did both sides the same way. I'm not going to put any on this back side. I'm just going to bolt the box onto that square tubing. So I'm not going to have any on the bottom. I'll get this welded up and probably painted it and come back. But you could see that, or well, you can't see, but I'm using a 230 amp MIG welder. It's a 220. It's plenty for this job. I used to have a flux core welder, and that would be a small flux core 110 volt would easily do a job like this. So this is a really easy job that someone could do with a small welder. All right, I got all 4 brackets welded on. I did change my mind. I added the back 2. It was easy enough. I mean, an extra 15 minutes of work or so to cut it and weld it on, so why not? Then I don't have to worry about all my stuff in my toolbox ever going anywhere. So that's kind of what they look like. Again, not perfect, not just typical, nothing too hard. I'll finish, I'll put the box up, bolt it down, then show you guys the finished product. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and weld, just put some probably tacks on these, but show you the finished product here shortly. All right, here's the finished mounted box. I didn't get everything. I didn't get my weight distribution brackets finished, but the box itself is mounted. Overall, pretty good. I got, except those 4 mounts on the bottom. Sorry for all the wind. And then 3 self-tapping screws in the back. It's, plus, once it has weight in there for contents, it's going to be plate stable. Just a couple things I know that'll probably be mentioned. This has a long tongue on it, but if you have a short trailer, of course you're going to run into these potentially corners with your bumper, so you have to be careful there. Like I said, this has an extremely long tongue, so we should be good. Then the other is make sure your jack clears. With that new jack, we have plenty of room. So overall, extremely happy still. Now I need to put my battery inside for my winch. I'm also going to put the breakaway battery and box inside. So hope you guys like the video. I'll have a lot more modifications probably coming on this trailer. So if you'd like to see those, please subscribe.